Hello again. Having a plan's great, but how do you know if it's working? And more importantly, how do you know if it's going wrong? Because often when things start to go wrong, when you feel things are going wrong, or you notice something's not right, it can be a bit late and it can take time to get back on track and recover, sometimes weeks or months if you've really gone too far the wrong way. And the training planning tools and diary tools like TrainingPeaks, Strava, Final Surge, they only really go some way into spotting these things when things might be going wrong. They're pretty good at the training and how much training you're doing, measuring training volume, but spotting when things are going wrong can be a bit hard to do within the TrainingPeaks or training diary system. And then of course we've got things like Garmin and Whoop and Aura and the other more softer tools that measure HRV, heart rate variability, sleep. The sleep trackers are quite good now, but don't integrate particularly effectively, and I've found anyway that their AI tools aren't particularly good at showing rest and recovery. They give you some information, but they don't really encompass all the subjective things and integrate everything well. I guess they'll get better, but at the moment I don't feel that they do a very good job. So I've been looking at simple ways to resolve all the information. There's a bit of manual work involved, but I think we've got getting towards quite a good system. And if you watched the video last week, you'll have seen the tracker that we're using and developing here. So taking things in stages, if you want to get a good visual account of your training year or training years, you can use something like the annual training planner in TrainingPeaks, and I find that gives quite a nice graphical overview of the year with your main events coming up and perhaps the training volume that you're hoping to achieve. And also if you use it throughout the year, you can compare your training volume that you'd planned with the training volume that you're doing in quite an effective way. And then in the calendar view, you can get an idea of your compliance. Are you doing a little bit more in each training session that's planned? Are you doing a bit less? Or are you not doing the training sessions at all? Are you suffering from motivation? Are you tired? Is something wrong? And if so, why? But the why aspect of why you're not doing the workouts, why the training might not be working, why you might be getting tired, isn't really covered very well within the TrainingPeaks platform. So to fill these gaps, we've got the planning spreadsheet. So that fills the gap, I feel, between the annual training plan, this graphical representation, and having an overall view of your training towards your events. You can see each week, you can plan each week as hard, easy, medium or whatever. And you can plan a weekly routine, and it's nice to have a similar training session on similar days each week, because if you have a pattern, it's quite easy to spot when things are going wrong. Patterns are really useful because you can see when they're going off pattern, off track. So that's the training planning tool. You can download the planning tool from the link in the description. And the one on the screen, the one that's in the download, is targeted at London, Edinburgh, London this year. But obviously you can make it work for whatever you want. So you've got the overall view, the annual training plan, and then you've got our planner, which gives you an overall view of your season with some progression of training sessions, some interim events, and then you've got your more detailed view, your TrainingPeaks calendar as a planner of the detailed plan of your workouts. So you can follow along, and then when you've done the workouts, that gets populated with the training data, and you can see whether you've hit the targets, missed the targets by doing too much, or missed the targets by doing not enough, or if you've not tried the session at all. And in TrainingPeaks and a lot of the other calendar applications, you can add subjective metrics like how you're feeling, what's your mood like. You can add RPE to your training sessions, so that gives you a feel for how things are going outside the actual hard training data. And of course you can pick up HRV that can come from Whoop into TrainingPeaks. So it is all in one place, but it is quite difficult to make sense of it, particularly if you want to take subjective comments into account. You have to actually look at each comment basically, or each workout. In the coach's view you can see a list of people's comments, but it's still not a very good way of understanding what's going on in looking at patterns, and then understanding what triggers might be causing things to go wrong or things to go right. So that's why we've developed this traffic light system, whereby you look for triggers that might be helpful or unhelpful, and have traffic lights: green for good, yellow for a warning sign, red for stop doing it and do something different, take immediate action. And by reviewing the data, if you work with us, we can help you set up a very detailed plan that's based on your specific data, takes all the comments into account, all your Whoop data or your Garmin data or your TrainingPeaks data, and any online journals you might have, to get an integrated traffic light system for you that we update monthly. Or you can do it yourself using the tracking tool and identifying triggers that indicate that you're in the yellow zone or in the red zone. You can see the quick reference guide that we use on the screen, and it gradually revise that so that you get better at spotting when you might be drifting into an unhelpful area. And that covers training, work-life balance and well-being. They're the three categories that we've decided to work with for now. Obviously things evolve and that might change, but at the moment we find they're really effective areas, and we look for triggers in those zones, and then we use the tracker to say whether you're in green, yellow or red, based on the quick reference guide. So you just have the quick reference guide with you. I've got it on a bit of paper here, and so you make a judgment. You use your intuition, and then you make an overall judgment, which might not correlate exactly with the individual areas, because it's just an overall feeling based on the guidelines of the metrics. Hopefully that makes sense. What we're trying to do is spot patterns when things are drifting to red or drifting towards green, and then if they're drifting to red or yellow, then why is that? What can we do differently to reverse that trend and keep everything as close to green as possible? Obviously it's never going to be perfect, so it's always going to be some yellow or perhaps even some red, but we're just trying to get better, and that's all we can do really, isn't it? And in that way we're getting some visual feedback. We can make notes on each day. I've updated the spreadsheet, so if you want an updated spreadsheet, if you downloaded last week's spreadsheet, if you use the same link or the one in the description, you can download an updated version of the spreadsheet and make your own copy, because you won't be able to change the one in the link, and then you can edit it to meet your needs, add your own triggers, add your own notes, and continue with tracking progress. But of course, spotting the triggers is one thing, but you've got to do something about it. So the next phase is to identify what things you're going to change. If you're in the red zone, you probably have a weekly review. I think trying to do it daily it's a bit too acute. Things change from day to day. Your mood changes up and down. Some days you'll have good days, some days you'll have bad days. So it's best not to make a change. It's best to be systematic. And if you're in the red zone, have a weekly review. And if you're in the yellow zone, have a monthly review, and identify what actions to take. And what I think is most effective is to identify, rather than change a lot of things at once, because you don't know what impact that really has, is to find what thing in each category you might want to stop doing, what's making the worst, the most negative impact on your life, on your performance, on your training, and stop doing that. Try it for 2 weeks. If it helps, it's a good thing to do. If it doesn't help, then you've probably got the wrong thing. And then, of course, what's the most effective thing? What's the most effective thing in your life? And obviously, keep doing that. So you identify the most negative thing and the most positive thing in your weekly routine or your month, and then note those at the start of each week in the columns we've added, so that you've then got a visual of what you're trying to keep doing and what you're trying to stop doing. And then try that for a couple of weeks, do your next monthly review or weekly review if you're in the red zone, and then upgrade it. And it's a process of gradual improvement that we're trying to achieve, because you can't solve things all at once. We're creatures of habit, and it's creating better habits, good processes to build fitness, and bit by bit you compound that fitness. As you're a bit fitter, you can train a bit harder, so you can get a bit fitter, and then you can train a bit harder. And that's the way it works, that's the way fitness works, and you get towards your goals. So now we've got a plan, overall plan, more detailed plans, and you can track it against whether you're actually doing what's planned. If you're not doing what's planned, why are you not doing what's planned? If you are doing what's planned and it's not working, why is it not working? And then we've got some actions that we can take, test those, replan, react, and readjust, and hopefully we'll all head towards success. I hope you find this useful. If it can help you anyway, we have a really vibrant EBR club, cycling club, and a running club that comes with email support. It's very affordable, so you might like to join that if you need a bit of support. If you want some one-to-one support, if you're really struggling or you're training towards a specific goal and you're not sure how to go forward, then get in touch with that, because we'd love to work with you and help you achieve your goals. That's why we're here. That's what we love to do, and we seem to be reasonably good at it. So get in touch and we'll help you as much as we can.